We haven't talked to you since the whole thing happened. What exactly happened that night when you hurt yourself?
Yeah, well, obviously, that's what was said. I was at the dinner, and then on my way to the car, I slipped, and I felt, it was unfortunate, that I got hurt from it.
David Pastrnak addresses Bruins Nation, dismisses knee injury concerns. Good day everyone and welcome back to Across the NHL, your premier destination for all the news from right across the National Hockey League. I am your host and we are diving headfirst into the most pressing story coming out of Boston Bruins training camp today. All eyes, as they often are, were on number 88, David Pastrnak. After an off-season that saw some speculation and a noticeable absence from early camp skates, the superstar winger was back on the ice with his teammates. But the big question on everyone's mind was the state of his health. Reports of a nagging knee issue had begun to circulate, causing a ripple of anxiety through the Bruins faithful. While we have the latest direct from the man himself and Bruins fans, you can likely breathe a little easier. The scene at the Bruins practice facility was one of clear focus. There was Pastrnak going through drills, firing pucks with that familiar lethal precision and most importantly, skating. Now for a player of his caliber, a player whose game is so dependent on his explosive edge work and dynamic movement, any mention of a knee problem is going to raise eyebrows. It is only natural. This is the franchise player, the one who carries the offensive load night after night. But when the media scrum gathered around him after the session, Pasternak's demeanor was anything but concerned. He was relaxed, he was smiling, and he was very direct in his assessment. He acknowledged the issue, yes, but he was quick to downplay its significance. In his own words, it is nothing more than a minor, nagging inconvenience. Something that he and the training staff are managing with an abundance of caution. He specifically stated that he is not concerned about it. Let me repeat that because it is crucial. David Pastrnak is not concerned about this knee issue. He emphasized that this is the reason you have a training camp, to work through these kinds of things, to get your body back into game shape, and to ensure you are 100% ready for the grind of the 82-game schedule. This was not a player making excuses or looking for a lighter workload. This was a professional explaining that he is simply being smart about his preparation. This approach, frankly, should be seen as a positive sign. It shows a level of maturity and an understanding of the long game. The Bruins do not need a hero in September. They need a healthy, dominant David Pastrnak in April, May, and hopefully June. Rushing back from a minor tweak at this stage of the year would be the height of foolishness. The fact that the organization and the player are on the same page about taking a measured approach is exactly what you want to see. Think about what is at stake here. The Boston Bruins are once again poised to be a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference. But their margin for error, especially when it comes to health, is thinner than some might think. This is a team built on structure and goaltending, but its offensive engine runs almost exclusively through Pastrnak. Without him operating at his peak, the entire dynamic of the team changes. He is not just a goal scorer, he is a catalyst. His ability to draw defenders and create space for his line mates is irreplaceable. So when a story like this emerges, it is understandable why it becomes the dominant headline. However, the real story today is not the injury itself. The real story is the response. It is the professionalism shown by Pastrnak in addressing it head-on and dismissing the panic before it could truly take hold. It is the sight of him on the ice, participating fully, and looking very much like the player who can challenge for the Rocket Richard Trophy once again. Now, what does this mean for the start of the regular season? Based on today's evidence and his own comments, it would be a major surprise if Pastrnak was not in the lineup on opening night. This does not sound like a situation that will require a long-term recovery. This sounds like maintenance. It sounds like the kind of minor ailment that dozens of players across the league are dealing with at this very moment, but because it is a player of Pasternak's stature, it rightfully gets a brighter spotlight. The key takeaway for Bruins fans and for hockey observers across the league is this: the sky is not falling in Boston. The most important player on their roster is on the ice, he is producing, and he is confidently stating that there is nothing to worry about. Sometimes, in the hyper-analytical world of sports coverage, we can overlook the most important voice in the room: the players. And today, David Pasternak's voice was clear, calm, and confident. That is going to do it for this update here on Across the NHL. A sigh of relief for the black and gold, as their superstar is back in action and downplaying any significant injury concerns. What is your take on this situation? Are you fully convinced that this is just a minor bump in the road, or does any knee issue for a player like PASTRNA make you nervous? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I love reading your perspectives. If you enjoyed this update, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all your daily news from right across the National Hockey League. And be sure to ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. End screen appears with links to other videos, the channel subscription button and social media links. Background music swells and fades out.